I found out he was cheating when I saw his medical results. He didn't know I was reading them. I never thought the truth about my relationship would come crashing down in the form of a PDF file. But that's exactly how it happened. For 3 years, I thought I knew this man. I thought I understood his habits, his quirks, the way he'd run his fingers through his hair when he was stressed, the way he kissed my forehead when he thought I was asleep. I thought I knew what love was supposed to feel like, and I thought we had it. But nothing prepares you for the moment when your stomach drops, your chest tightens, and the world you thought you were living in turns out to be a carefully constructed illusion. It all started with a visit to the doctor. Nothing serious, just a routine checkup for him. His job requires annual physicals, and since he doesn't exactly stay on top of his own health, I'm usually the one who schedules and follows up. That day, I was working from home, buried in emails and spreadsheets, when his email pinged on the shared laptop we sometimes use for bills and bookings. I wasn't snooping. I didn't go digging. The email subject just popped up in the corner: confidential medical results, please review. I shouldn't have clicked. But I did. And that one click cracked open everything. At first, it was just standard blood work. Nothing unusual. Then, toward the bottom of the document, I saw something that didn't sit right with me. There was a section flagged for STIs, and under it, in bold red letters, was a positive test result for chlamydia. I blinked, thinking maybe I'd read it wrong. My hands got cold. My vision tunneled a little. Because the truth is, I haven't been with anyone else. Not even once. And we've been intimate just a few nights before. So how? How could this happen unless he was cheating? I closed the laptop like it had burned me and just sat there, numb. I tried to rationalize it. Maybe it was a false positive, maybe it was a mistake. But deep down, I knew. You don't just randomly get that. He must have slept with someone. I didn't confront him immediately. I needed to think. I needed to make sure. And honestly, I wanted to see if he'd tell me the truth himself. That night, he came home like nothing was wrong. Kissed me on the cheek. Told me he was starving and asked if we could order from that Thai place he liked. I stared at him while he scrolled through the menu on his phone, trying to imagine the kind of man who could be that calm after doing something so vile. I didn't sleep that night. He snored beside me like a baby, like he hadn't just turned my entire world upside down. My mind kept racing. Who was she? How long had it been going on? Was it a one-time thing or a full-blown affair? I started recalling all the moments that had felt off in the past few months. That sudden weekend trip to Leeds for work. The new cologne he started wearing out of the blue. The way he had stopped leaving his phone unattended. I didn't want to believe any of it before, but now all the puzzle pieces fit together in the ugliest way possible. The next morning, while he was in the shower, I did what I never thought I'd do. I checked his phone. He had changed the password a few weeks ago, claiming his work was tightening digital security policies. But I tried his old PIN anyway, and to my surprise, or maybe horror, it still worked. And what I found in there made my stomach twist. Messages with a woman saved under the name Tom Courier. Hidden in plain sight. The texts were flirty, intimate, familiar. I scrolled and scrolled, reading, "I miss you already," and "last night was perfect." One even said, "I hate sneaking around but I can't stop seeing you." There were photos too. Not explicit, but suggestive enough. A selfie of her in his hoodie. Another of the two of them holding coffee cups outside a boutique hotel in Manchester. He came out of the shower, towel around his waist, hair dripping. I must have looked like a ghost because he asked if I was okay. I told him I felt sick. It wasn't even a lie. I didn't confront him that day either. Not yet. I needed more time to plan. To process. I wanted my exit to be clean, controlled. I wanted to hurt him the way he had hurt me, but smarter. Quietly. With precision. And I had just the start of a plan forming in my head. Update 2. The following few days were the hardest I've ever lived through. Pretending everything was fine, smiling when I wanted to scream, making dinner for a man I now knew was lying to my face. Every second felt like playing a role in a play I hadn't signed up for, and yet I couldn't let him see a crack in my mask. I needed more time, and more importantly, I needed proof. It wasn't just about catching him, he was already caught. It was about knowing exactly what I was dealing with, who she was, and how far it had gone. I wasn't going to walk away blind. I wanted to burn this down with the truth in my pocket. I started digging during the hours he was at work. His laptop wasn't locked, he trusted me, clearly more than he should have. I found a hidden folder in the documents section titled Receipts. It was filled with hotel bookings, train tickets, even dinner reservations. The earliest date went back almost 8 months. My heart sank when I realized some of those weekends he claimed to be with his brother or working overtime, he was with her. One receipt really hit me, it was for the same weekend he had missed my birthday. He told me he had a big presentation and couldn't get away. That night I cried alone on the couch with a store-bought cake, and he was at a spa hotel in York, room service and all. I had no tears left in me. Just rage now. Her name wasn't hard to find. Her email was listed in a few of the confirmation messages. Julia Thompson. A quick search brought up her LinkedIn, then her Facebook. She was real. Pretty. Blonde. Just turned 30. She worked in marketing and had a cat named Milo. Scrolling through her profile, I saw photos of them together, nothing overtly romantic, but the body language said everything. He was there, grinning, hand resting lightly on her waist, her leaning into him. And the worst part? These weren't hidden. They were public. And I had never once thought to look. I booked an appointment at my GP and got myself tested immediately. I didn't trust anything he told me now. Thankfully, I came back negative, but the shame, the humiliation, the pure filthiness I felt didn't disappear. I stood in the shower that night for what felt like hours, scrubbing skin that didn't feel like mine anymore. How could he do this to me? To us? To everything we built together? One evening, when he was out, with the guys, I packed a suitcase. Not all of my things, just enough to get by. I left it in the boot of my car. I didn't know when I was going to leave, but I needed to be ready. I wasn't going to confront him with tears. I was going to do it on my terms, and I was going to do it cold. I printed out the test result. The one he didn't know I'd seen. I also printed some of the receipts and a few of the text messages, including one where he told Julia, "Sometimes I wish I could just live with you and stop pretending at home." That line. That line was the final nail. The confrontation happened 2 nights later. We had dinner. I even made him his favorite, chicken korma. We watched a movie. He sat next to me on the couch like nothing was wrong, like the man I thought I loved wasn't a stranger. When it ended, I asked if we could talk. He looked confused, slightly concerned. I told him I'd been feeling off, that I wanted to be honest with him about something, and then I pulled the papers out of the side table drawer. At first, he blinked. Then he went pale. He opened the first page and realized exactly what it was. "What is this?" he asked, his voice already defensive. "You tell me," I said, crossing my arms. He shuffled through the stack. His medical result. The hotel receipts. The messages. "You went through my stuff," he snapped. I stared at him. "That's your takeaway from this? That I invaded your privacy? You gave me an STD, and you're worried about your bloody inbox?" He stumbled. "It's not like that. I didn't mean for it to happen." "Oh, what part? The affair, or the part where you risked my health?" He stood up. Paced. Ran his hands through his hair. Classic guilt mode. He started saying things like, "It didn't mean anything," and "You've been distant lately," all the usual crap men scramble for when they're caught. I let him talk. I didn't cry. I just stared at him until he stopped spinning lies. And then I said, "I'm leaving." He froze. "What?" I packed a bag. "It's in the car. I've already talked to a solicitor. I'm done." He begged. Pleaded. Tried to reach for my hand. I pulled back. And then I walked out of the house, out of our relationship, out of the hell I'd been unknowingly trapped in. Update 3. Leaving him should have felt like victory, like reclaiming myself after years of lies, but in truth, it felt hollow at first. The drive to my sister's place that night was quiet, no music, no tears. Just silence and the faint buzzing of adrenaline fading away. I remember staring at the road thinking, so this is it. This is the end of our story. But what I didn't realize then was that it wasn't just the end of us, it was the start of me learning how to live for myself again. The days that followed were weird. I went from sharing a home, a bed, a routine, to sleeping in my niece's pink guest room, surrounded by stuffed animals and unicorn wallpaper. My sister, bless her, didn't ask questions the first night. She just handed me a blanket and said, "You're safe here." And I needed that more than I thought. I slept for almost 12 hours straight. When I woke up, the world felt heavier, but somehow, I felt lighter. My ex, let's call him Dan, called me 47 times in the first 2 days. I didn't answer once. He messaged me things like, "Can we talk? I messed up," and "Please don't throw away everything we had." I didn't block him. Not yet. I wanted him to see that I was deliberately ignoring him. I wanted him to sit in that discomfort, the same way I had when I read those messages to Julia, when I saw the test result, when I realized my life had been a lie for almost a year. It wasn't until the 4th day that he sent something different, a photo of the ring he'd bought months earlier, apparently planning to propose on our anniversary. As if that made any of this okay. As if giving me chlamydia and taking another woman to spa weekends could be erased with a diamond. I laughed when I saw it. Not because it was funny, because it was desperate. And Dan? He was never desperate. He was calculated. Cold. Always 2 steps ahead. Until now. I finally answered one of his calls a week later, not out of curiosity or hope, just to say what I needed to say. "Dan," I told him, "I don't care what you were planning. I don't care if you think you love me. You lied. You endangered me. And worst of all, you tried to make me feel like I was the one who changed. I didn't change. I just saw the truth." He cried. He tried to guilt me. Said things like, "We can go to counseling," and "She didn't mean anything, you're my real life." But none of it worked. I'd seen behind the curtain. And I could never unsee it. I started therapy a few weeks later. It was awkward at first, admitting to a stranger how stupid I felt. How ashamed. But she said something that stuck with me, "You weren't stupid. You were trusting. And trust is a strength, not a weakness. His betrayal doesn't make you small, it makes him small." I began rebuilding from there. Got my own flat. Went back to school to finish the degree I'd put on pause during our relationship. For the first time in years, I started writing again, something I used to love before Dan's constant dismissals made me feel like it was childish. My life became mine again. Messy, quiet, sometimes lonely, but mine. One day I ran into Julia. Yup, that Julia. It was at a coffee shop near the university. She looked different, drawn, thinner, tired. I recognized her before she recognized me. When she finally did, her eyes widened, and she looked like she might bolt. But I walked over, calm as ever, and said, "He cheated on both of us. Hope you got tested." Then I walked out. No yelling. No dramatics. Just truth. I don't know where Dan is now. Last I heard, he moved cities and started working somewhere new. Good. Let someone else deal with his lies. As for me, I'm still healing, still figuring out who I am outside of what I lost. But you know what? I've never felt more in control. And the next time I fall in love, it'll be with someone who deserves to know all of me, not just the version that's convenient. What do you think? Tell us in the comments. Like the video and hit the subscribe button for more Reddit stories.